While initial opinions are this is genuine, what you're about to see may disturb you.
Right now, many Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, and it's not just low-income earners that are having a tough time. In fact, more than 60% of U.S. consumers now struggle to make ends meet.
57% of Americans can't cover a $1,000 emergency expense. Cody Anderson says one job is not enough to cover his family's expenses.
Even working a full-time job, it's not enough. You have to have multiple ways of income. Otherwise, it's going to be hard. It just is.
Well, the American people have witnessed what is the greatest failure of any presidential administration in the history of our country.
Consumer sentiment hit a record low last month, as new polling shows 42% of Americans are struggling to remain where they are financially, nearly double from a year ago, and 85% think the economy is getting worse.
On the issue of the economy, I think there couldn't be a more fundamental difference between Donald Trump and Joe Biden.
Why? When I asked you about Bidenomics a long time ago, you said you didn't know what it was. I said I didn't name it Bidenomics. I didn't realize The Economist and the Wall Street Journal did. But I think it's a plan that I'm happy to call Bidenomics.
Farmers have experienced bankruptcy because of it. We are in a manufacturing recession because of it.
And guess what? Bidenomics is working.
Clearly, it hasn't worked.
I'm not making ends meet. I'm not making it. I'm spending my savings. I get paid tomorrow, and already my whole paycheck is spoken for. And it's the first time in my life I've had to apply for food stamps because I don't know how we're going to continue eating groceries.
And now you're standing in a food line because of the ineptitude of an administration that was unwilling to speak the truth to the American people.
In today's Money Watch, we're talking about the massive spike in rents and home prices across the country. And anyone who's looked to move in the past several months knows exactly what we're talking about. As of April, the average cost of rent has jumped more than 16% from the same time last year. And the price of homes has increased more than 34% over the past 2 years. It is not pretty. What's going on here? I mean, this harkens back to like 2005, 6, right before something else happened.
We're looking at people who are trying to figure out how they're going to pay rent by the end of the month. Almost half of American renters are worried about whether they're going to be able to pay rent by the end of the month. This is where the economy is in America right now, and it is because of the catastrophe and the failure of leadership.
There was once a time, not that long ago, when the size of the national debt dominated political conversation. In 1992, when Ross Perot ran for president on that issue alone, the debt was about $4 trillion. It has now surpassed $35 trillion. It hit that number for the first time on Monday and equates to over $104,000 per person. Financial hole is mounting quicker than most economists had predicted. That's because the money spent on federal programs recently has gone over their initial projections.
This is where we are today, because of a failure of leadership.
Each night, they rush to turn themselves in, group after group of asylum seekers crossing the Arizona border.
This area alone is seeing hundreds of asylum seekers each night.
And in just the last year, there have been more than 300,000 illegal border crossings in the area around Yuma. That's 3 times the city's entire population of nearly 100,000. It's an all-time record.
Is that sustainable?
It's not sustainable.
And I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
So take a look at what we witnessed out here. In Lukeville, we watched as cartel SUVs started showing up and escorting 8 migrants from Peru through a previously cut gap in the border wall. As you can see, one of the smugglers even flexes for our cameras in the gap.
Awful. And it should have never happened. And I know Joe feels the same way. This is who we have as the president of the United States. And America, you deserve better.
Our military doesn't respect him. We look like fools in Afghanistan. We didn't stop Israel. It was such a horrible thing that would have never happened. It should have never happened. Iran was broke. Anybody that did business with Iran, including China, they couldn't do business with the United States. They all passed. Iran was broke. They had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah, for terror, no money whatsoever. Again, Ukraine should have never happened. For 3.5 years, we're living in hell. We have the Palestinians and we have everybody else rioting all over the place. The whole country is exploding because of you, because they don't respect you, and they have to respect their president, and they don't respect you throughout the world. What we did was incredible. We rebuilt the military. We got the largest tax cut in history, the largest regulation cut in history. So all of these things, we're in a failing nation, but it's not going to be failing anymore. We're going to make it great again.
I know our future is bright because it is that perspective on who we are and who we should be that is a sign of leadership and is something we should all aspire to be.
I said, that's right.
Because we cannot get reelected. We cannot win this reelection. Excuse me, we can only reelect Donald Trump.